Hiya guys, welcome back to another video. Now I know many of y'all out there have major concerns about UK's immigration because I released a video last week that obviously stated some of the biggest changes that are going to happen to the UK. Firstly, PSW might be potentially closing, which will affect students. Secondly, carers might not be allowed to get their dependents anymore. Thirdly, visa costs are going to increase. Fourthly, the shortage occupation list might be scrapped. And fifth, the salary threshold for skilled worker visas is going to increase. And the IHS fees are generally going to be increasing across all categories. Now, if you are somebody who's planning to move into the UK in 2024 or 2025, then this video is for you because I am sharing today exactly my thoughts and my opinions about what I think you should be doing, especially if you plan to come into the UK, and is it going to be worth it for you to move with all of your family members or yourself into a new country, which is UK. So stay tuned. But right now, let me just introduce myself. My name is Nikita and I make videos about life in the UK, working as a healthcare professional and potentially landing those jobs. So feel free to follow me on Instagram as well. But let's dive into today's video. So firstly, let's start with students. Now, I know a lot of you students are planning to come into the UK, firstly because the UK has some of the best universities in the world and it gives you a really good exposure and work experience generally when you work over here, because also some of the courses have things like placements on there. So one of the things that you would be asking me is, Nihita, is it worth it to be a student in the UK in 2024? What's going to happen if the PSW goes out? So let's tackle this question first. Well, if you are a student who's coming into the UK in Jan 2024's intake, the PSW still applies for you. For students who are already studying in the universities in the UK, your degree, once you've completed it, you will be granted the PSW because there hasn't been any rules or legislations removed as of now to suggest that the PSW is not going to be extended to you guys. So if you are out there who is currently watching this video and planning to do your course in the UK or is a current student in the UK, please be calm and stay focused on your academics because most likely you will be given the PSW. However, if you are somebody who is planning to come as a student in September 2024's intake or maybe after, and are planning that once you come into the UK, it is your aim in life to get a job over here, get a bit settled down, get your work visa, and then maybe call your family over, then I personally feel that right now UK might not be the best opportunity for you, especially for those of you out there who are not coming to study in the UK from the perspective of gaining a global exposure, but who want to come and settle down with their family in the UK. The reason for this is the overall cost for the visas have now increased and the IHS fees for this have also increased. And that's going to put a financial burden on your plans, especially when you plan to come into the UK as a student and want to transition to that work visa and get your family along with you. And the second thing is obviously that the UK government is now tightening its immigration laws to sort of curb the immigration. So if you are somebody who's planning to come from September 2024 onwards, one of the main things for you to be concerned about is the PSW going to close down? Now, obviously, the PSW was a fantastic opportunity for you as a student to find a work visa and to find jobs that sponsor you in the UK over the period of 2 years that you have. But if that sort of goes away, especially from the September 2024 intake, then I would suggest that again, that sort of puts you in a tough spot. It's not impossible to land a job when you're sort of a student in the UK. However, it's going to be really constrictive in the number of months that you have to land a job, and that's going to put a massive pressure on you, especially if you are getting family along with you or if it is your aim to settle with your family in the UK. So personally, I feel like it might not be worth it because obviously it's going to stress you out a lot, but also it's going to place a massive financial burden on you coming from March 2024 onwards for any student who wants to come into the UK. Now, just for some of you guys out there who are students and who are looking for accommodation but who are not able to find it, let me just inform you that the student accommodation or the rental places in the UK right now are really tight. I've recently was just hearing this podcast which said that nearly the rental costs for overall in the UK have increased by 10%, and that's a sort of average figure not only in London but also in some of the other cities around the UK. And so if you are somebody who's struggling to find accommodation, please do not forget to give Amber students a shout out because they have accommodation not only in the bigger cities but also in several places all over the UK and all over the world. Also, what are the best things about them is that you can get accommodation based on where your university is and having good transport links to your university. It's also inclusive of all your bills, so you don't have to worry about Wi-Fi, electricity, or any other expenses that you might have during the stay. Also, it has some of the best facilities that you could achieve. Also, it has some of the best facilities that you can ask for. So really, I just feel it's a win-win situation for you. Also, because many students are delaying the sort of process of booking these accommodations. When you come to a later stage, you're going to have to pay really high rates to get any accommodation, but also they might not be as good. So if you are a student who's planning to come into the UK, I would suggest that now's your time to look at accommodation. Anywhere between December to March is a fairly good time to get really good deals, and I'll leave the link for Amber students in the description box below, so do not forget to check them out, guys. Now, what about people who are looking for work in the UK? So, if you are a student who's freshly graduated from a UK university and are looking for jobs in the UK, I would say that if your occupation falls on the shortage occupation list, and I am aware that these are being looked at the minute, I would say still, if your occupation falls within the shortage occupation list, there is a lot of demand for you guys still out there, because there are many jobs that are coming up within different sectors, including finance, IT, but also healthcare. So obviously, if you are a healthcare professional who's graduating from any UK university, I would say there's still quite a good chance for you to land a job in the UK right now, because there are many vacancies coming up, and some of the best websites that I've listed down before are obviously Track Jobs, NHS Jobs, NHS Scotland, but so many more. And if you want any more help with this, do not forget to check out this playlist, because it highlights the entire process for you and how you should be getting those jobs, making those applications, and preparing for them. But if you are somebody who's sort of still struggling and not able to land those jobs, I would highly advise you to book a one-to-one session with me, because there's no point of you going round and round in circles and making applications that are being rejected at this stage. So definitely book a one-to-one session with me, and I am opening slots every week, so do not forget to check them out, and I'll leave the link for that again in the description box below. But let me inform you guys that there are a few of you out there who are applying from countries outside the UK, maybe say India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Philippines, or any other country where you are from. What about people like you guys? I would again say that if your occupation falls within the shortage occupation list, if you are somebody who works in a profession that where there is a demand in the UK right now for you, for example, healthcare, there is definitely scope for you to land those jobs. The most important thing for people like you is to ensure that you have your license to practice in the UK, which might be HCPC for most of us, or maybe another registration. But also, the second thing is that you need to have a good background in English. So, you need to have good English proficiency skills, and this can be easily demonstrated by an IELTS or any other equivalent test. Now, again, if you are somebody who's concerned about those HCPC registrations, please do not stress, because there's an entire playlist that I've created just for you guys out there, so that you can apply through the entire process in a step-by-step manner, starting from what documents you need to completing the online application form. So definitely check that out, guys. What are some of the other things I want to advise people who are looking for jobs from either within the UK, so students who are sort of graduating or who are going to graduate really soon, and people who are looking for jobs from other countries? One of the first things I want to recommend to you is keep gaining that valuable experience, because any clinical experience is lovely. It puts you in a strong position, it helps you create good job application, but it also sort of helps you land those interviews, because it clears your path and makes your clinical reasoning so much stronger. So definitely gain good clinical experience or good work experience before you start applying for jobs in the UK. The second thing I want to say is a lot of students in the UK are now looking at part-time jobs, because obviously the cost of living is so high, and it's one of the ways they want to sustain themselves. But also, they are then looking at sort of jobs when they're on their PSW visa, which are not within the field where they are practicing. For example, people are looking at carer jobs, etc. I just want to say that your aim to sort of be in the UK is not to work as a carer, it's to work within the profession that you have sort of qualified and have worked hard to be a part of. So definitely consider driving most of your attention and focus to either making good job applications or gaining suitable work experience while you are in the UK or outside, so that again you do not lag behind and you do not waste your time in gaining skills or qualities that might not be relevant to any specific job role within the profession that you're looking at. Also, another thing to let you know that is that if you do not have the work experience, it sometimes is really tricky to get a job in the UK. So definitely that experience that you have is a bonus, and it's going to make you stand out as compared to all of the other candidates out there. Also, just as a last sort of advice that I want to share with you guys is, please think about things like, is your salary going to be able to meet the increased cost of expenses in the UK? So for example, I've been living in the UK for the last 3 years or so, and when I initially moved here, my grocery cost for a single person was about just £20 a week, which has now sort of shot up to nearly £30 a week, or maybe even more. And I just want to say that obviously my salary has not really increased that much, because obviously, like most of you know, I've been working in the NHS. So again, think about it, about whether your salary is going to be able to match those living expenses. And if there is a massive mismatch, then please be aware that you might need to find either alternate means of sort of supporting yourself, or maybe you might have money back home that you can use to sort of support your family, especially if you're getting your family along with you and there are more people who are dependent on that one income that you might be generating when you come into the UK. But that's it for today's video, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And if you have any questions, drop them there. But I hope this video was useful. Take care. Bye.